Hey friends, welcome to another video. My name is Deborah and I'm a visual artist from Sydney, Australia. In this video, we're going to be focusing on shelf rentals. I'm not really sure if that's a correct term. It's pretty much like where I can rent out a space in a shop to put my products and they will sell it for me. I think it might be very similar, or it might even just be consignment. I'm not sure if there's any differences between that, but that's what we're doing in this video. So as someone who is trying to be a full-time artist, I have been focusing on markets the past few months, like getting into markets and, attending markets, doing my market portfolio. And markets are so fun, meet so many great people, but unfortunately, there's not really any regular market here in Sydney that caters to the audience of people that usually buy my art. They're also very tiring, so I can't really see myself doing markets every weekend. So that means that I have to find other ways to make income as an artist. And one of the things I want to try to do is get my stuff in stores. Shelf rental or consignment is different from wholesale because I'm not actually selling any of my products to the store for them to sell. I own all of my products. I'm just renting a space in their shop. So I already have my stuff in one store in Melbourne, which is in a completely different state from me, in a store called Incubator. I'm in their Fitzroy location, which is really cool and really awesome. I was so psyched to get accepted into that. Unfortunately, I have not put a lot of work into it, and especially because I'm remote, the fees are a little higher for me. So honestly, I've just kind of been losing money the past few months. It is my fault. It is because I haven't really been sending new stock over regularly. I haven't really been promoting it that much, and I've kind of just been using it as a place to send my stock that hasn't sold at markets, which is probably why it's also not doing that well. But yeah, my goal in this video is to kind of improve my setup there and to set up a space in a store in Sydney. I recently got accepted in another store in Sydney. It is called Isekai Gacha in the Sydney CBD. I have rented a small shelf there that I will be setting up next week. And as the name kind of implies, I believe this store mainly sells like anime merchandise, blind boxes, gacha stuff, which is super cool. I'm not entirely sure my art fully fits into that. We're gonna try anyway, because the rental fee compared to Incubator is so much cheaper, and if I can cover my costs and make a little bit more, I'll be happy. It's also local, so I can go in anytime. So yeah, I definitely want to go for it and just see how it turns out. Okay, look, I'm gonna be honest. I bought this stuff for my next market, but we're just gonna open it now. So I feel like otherwise I won't have enough stock. Like realistically, I don't feel like I'm gonna sell out of absolutely everything at my next market. Like it would be amazing if I did, but I just feel like that's not realistic. So I feel fine sending a few things. Okay, so this is my vograce stuff. I'll open that in a second. I already kind of opened these. These are my mood prints, but I do want to sort them out now and just count them all and everything. I also need to trim some of them, so let's do that first. I have one B grade here, which is honestly pretty rare for Moo. I feel like this is the first B grade I've ever gotten from them. It printed out fine, except it's kind of damaged in the corner here. Looks like it's been folded a little bit. You can see it a little better on the back. I always get so anxious about this. So all of these are restocks, except for a few of these items I actually used a different manufacturer, so it's the first time that vograce has made them. But I am just wondering how different they'll be and if I'll need to make new listings for them and stuff. Let's just start with magnets. It does feel slightly thinner than the previous one I bought. I don't really know why. This is the old one, and this is the new one. Okay, so the new one is definitely not as glittery as the old one. I don't know if it's because I didn't order glitter epoxy. I did just tell them to make it the same as last time, so I'm not sure if that's a change on their end. I still think they're cute though. So here is the keychain. This is my like self-care tea design on a keychain. So this is the one from vograce. This is the other one that I had manufactured. I will say I do think the other manufacturer has like nicer printing quality. This is way more vibrant than this. One thing I felt like about this specific keychain is that you couldn't really see the glitter very well, but this one the glitter is like pretty obvious. I don't know if you can really see it on the camera, but it has lots of gold specks of glitter. I love the service of my vograce wrap better than this previous manufacturer, which was Melody Charms. When I had this keychain first manufactured, they didn't even put it in a circle. They kind of did like a die cut of the design and it looked really odd, even though I sent them a photo of what I wanted. They also added like a little loop at the top here, whereas with the vograce one, I sent her the diagram and she did it perfectly on the first try. You can see that there's no little loop at the top. It's kind of like embedded into the circle, which is what I originally wanted. I can see that this acrylic is also clearer. They're pretty much the same thickness, but the vograce one I can see that there's a line on the side to indicate the layers, whereas the Melody Charms one doesn't have that. The designers at vograce centered the design better. Actually, I don't even know why I restocked these. I still have a few and I feel like they don't sell super well, but I just wanted more of them anyway because I think they're so cute. I just think no one else thinks they're cute. I don't know, these are actually also like a little pricier because it's a connector keychain with 3 charms. So here's what I usually do to them. I add a bunch of beads on them because I thought that it was too plain, but I have had 2 people express that it might be too complex and that maybe I should just sell them like this. Maybe I'll try different bead combinations. This is probably like one of my favorite products that I've made. I love these so much. My duck keychain. This thing is so cute. I love this so much. And it is almost pretty much exactly the same as the first time I got it. I think that the printing of the colors is slightly different. vograce does have a new type of rainbow acrylic though, so I asked them to use the old one and I can see that it's exactly the same. Look at my duck child. I had people at UTS Makers Market asking me if I had more of these and unfortunately I didn't. Here it is. And what I usually do is I actually add a few beads to this one too, which I think is the appeal for a lot of people. Okay, unfortunately I don't have an example because I remember I sold the display one, but I'll put a picture right here. Time for the thing that I'm actually most nervous about, which is a restock of my strawberry keychain. Once again, I made the first ones through Melody Charms, so it's my first time ordering these through vograce. And look, I actually ordered I think like 20 or 25 of these. This may not sound like a lot, but I'm telling you, this added up and this whole package cost so much, especially with how low the Australian dollar is right now. I feel like the color is already different. I definitely feel like, once again, the one from Melody Charms has better quality printing, but it is still really pretty. I can see that they have a larger kind of outline, kind of like less bumpy, so you can see they smoothed it out kind of here, whereas on this one, you can kind of see like every bump from this flower. Oh, you can especially see it on this little charm right here. This is the Melody Charms one and this is the vograce one. You can see how different the outlines are. The chains are also slightly different. The one from Melody Charms is definitely more yellow and has smaller links. I think the links do look nicer from the vograce ones though. I also need to add these beads to the new ones. I'm not unhappy with them. I knew that choosing a different manufacturer would mean that the products look slightly different. Here are the differences so you can see them a little better. I'm honestly of the mind that if you didn't see this one before and you just saw this in a store, you would still think this is really pretty. This one is the vograce one, this is Melody Charms. The different placement of the holes, but also the way that they align this artwork is a lot better than this one. This one is very close to the edge in these areas. it doesn't perfectly align. What's important is the front, and I really don't want to chop off more of the front, especially for this design. This border will be too close and it will chop off some of the design here. The back of these are just gonna have these black lines. I don't think this happened last time, but I'm not really too surprised because of the way that I designed these. So I just sorted, counted, and cut the prints to size. Looking at this paper where I've written all the quantities down, it feels like I don't even have a lot of stuff. But something I learned from my last 2 markets and that I'm currently working on is that, like, in my brain, the amount of stock I sell, it like still doesn't correlate to how much revenue I earned. I know I've only done 2 markets, but so far I have been noting down how much stock I have at the start, like how much of each individual product and how much I have at the end of it. And every time I do that process, it just feels like I didn't sell anything. I'm like, wow, I did pretty well. And then I look at my stock and I'm like, why do I still have so much stock? I have been using craft paper for my packaging. It's literally just craft paper square, my name at the top. And look, I think that was fine for when I started, but now that I'm trying to get my products in shops, I feel like I really need to make the branding pop more. And I was thinking about maybe if I like took a bit of this image, maybe like the middle here, made it a little bit more pastel, and then used that as the backing for the stickers. And then maybe at the top I could have my website. Honestly, my biggest concern is how much ink it's going to use up. Oh, the colors are so different. On this day, I was planning to create more sticker packs and finish packaging everything else up, but instead I spent the entire day cleaning and rearranging my studio. I remember looking around and feeling really frustrated at my space. I love maximalism and clutter, but there's a very fine line for me between cozy and disorganized, and this was definitely stepping into disorganized. During this part of the vlog, I was also in the middle of market preparations, so there were a few large boxes sitting on the floor and it was just starting to get really messy. I've always felt that my mental state and emotions mirror my environment, or vice versa, so looking around I felt really anxious seeing the mess and it felt like it was impossible to work. I needed to deal with it ASAP so I could continue. One of the boxes was a Cricut maker that I was generously allowed to borrow indefinitely. I decided I needed another cutting machine because I was really struggling to cut stickers for markets at a good pace. I have a Cricut Explore, which is a lower tier model than the Maker, but they worked similarly enough that it wasn't difficult learning how to use it. I decided to clear out one of my shelves and put the new Cricut on it. Previously, when I only had my Cricut Explore, I would move it to my desk every single time I wanted to cut stickers. It wasn't hard to move, but it was a mild inconvenience and took up so much desk space. I never thought about keeping the Cricut on the shelf while I was using it because honestly the shelves didn't seem super stable and I was afraid they would fall over. I decided to give it a go now anyway because there are two machines and there's no way that they would both fit on my desk. This led to me rearranging my entire desk setup, and this time I decided to just embrace Deborah core, as my friends lovingly put it. I like to think it's a mix of cottagecore with more fantasy, nature, medieval vibes, kind of like a hobbit hole. It's very cluttered and mismatched with lots of earth tones, and there are a lot of thrifted or secondhand treasures from over the years. Another large box I had in my room was a huge delivery from Vistaprint. They were generous enough to let me use their services for my upcoming market, so I ordered a lot of new products, which you can check out in my previous vlogs. The box was huge though, and it was taking up so much space, so I reorganized my wardrobes and loaded it with the new stock. Along with that, I also needed to rearrange the drawers, since that's where I keep some of my stock too. After all of that was done, it was time to clear up everything else. There was a lot of rubbish and my trolley cart needed sorting. Then I re-added all my trinkets. Now the studio looks a lot neater and we can get back to work. Hey, what are you doing? Hello friends, it is Tuesday. I don't really know what yesterday was about. I was planning to just make more branding for my products, but I think I just got a little bit overwhelmed and decided to rearrange half the studio again. And I notice this happens quite often, especially if you watch my videos, you know, I'll always be moving things around, or I'll mention that I was moving things around for the past few days. I think as I figure out what kind of direction or things I'm focusing on in my business, the studio is just going to continue to change, and that's okay. We'll work it out together. So this morning I have just ordered more plastic sleeves and also a plastic display stand that I'm hoping to put my stickers and sticker sheets in so that I can fit them on the shelf. I did ask for dimensions of the small shelf, which is what I'll be renting at Isekai Gacha, but they responded to my email addressing another thing, but they didn't address or answer the question that I asked. Today's goal is to print more stickers and just finish up all of the sticker sets that I want to send to Incubator and that I want to put into Isekai Gacha.
진짜 해주세 어두운 밤지나 찬란하게 빛나 I've been feeling down all night You tell me it's alright It's alright, alright, alright So blue 저 하늘은 더 푸른 바다 How deep it
tiny. What the heck? What the heck? Bruh. This is what I use for my stickers, by the way, and this is what I wanted to use for my prints, but these are so small. Here I am preparing more products, but I was in a pretty bad mood on this day. I think a bill or something came through and my business bank account actually hit negative numbers. I was feeling super stressed out about it, so right before I did this, I forced myself to take a walk and also deposit the cash sales I had made from my last market, which counted the negative balance. While I was on the walk, I was thinking a lot about whether or not I could continue doing my art full time. I had felt like I had received a lot of opportunities and was trying a lot of things out for my art, but whether or not it was financially feasible was a completely different question. When I quit my job last October, I wasn't expecting to last this long out of employment. I was initially planning to look for a part-time job and do my art part-time as well, but I changed my mind at the end of the year and decided to put everything into my art business. Was that a good idea? Probably not, but I really wanted to give it a try. I didn't want to have any regrets about whether or not I could make it as an artist and small business owner. I don't regret my decision either, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that this year has been really difficult. It's not like I was making consistent online sales or had any experience at markets before I quit my full-time job. I barely even had an online audience. So for me to leave the security of my job and suddenly pursue an art-centric business was actually insane. Through my sleuthing, I feel like the shelves at isekai gacha are going to be really small, and I have a feeling that my stand won't fit. Here are some tagged photos that people have posted. Like, it doesn't really look like that big of a space. If this container thing is like as big as the one I have, it looks like you'd barely be able to fit 3 of them across here. This like fits in the palm of my hand. If we take that and we measure like 3-ish across, then that's like 30 centimeters. This is just over 30 centimeters, like 31-ish. This is on the stories. So at least Koi Pond has 2 shelves, but I'm looking at this as if it was split down the middle. And I can see that they've got 3 photo card holders here and maybe like a little bit extra there. So I looked at how big their photo holders were, and according to the description, it's 105 by 74 millimeters, assuming that the 74 millimeters is this side here, and there's 3 of them. I did 74 by 3, which is 222 millimeters, which is 22 centimeters. I'm assuming that the packaging would add a little bit more width, and then it looks like there's a little bit of space there. So I'm really hoping that it is over 30 centimeters, like a little over 30 centimeters. I mean, even if I don't use this for the display, I still think that this acrylic holder is really good for market. I think this is actually better for me to display my prints on than what I currently have. These dish rack things, because when all the prints are on here, you can't really see them. They're all kind of covered by the first one. So something tiered like this might be better for markets anyway. But I do need to think of a backup plan in case this structure does not fit in the shelf. Since the shelf looks like it's made of glass, I do have these suction cup hooks that I'm hoping I can attach to the sides. Going back to my feelings, right now it still feels like I'm hanging on by a thread. Throughout the whole year, I've been relying on markets to keep me afloat, but it feels like there's a ticking time bomb and I'll eventually have to find part-time employment. There's no shame in that though, because I know a lot of artists have full-time or part-time jobs outside of their businesses and art practices so that they can sustain themselves and their passion. I feel privileged that I could even quit in the first place and focus on my art business full-time for this long. Even if I haven't made a lot of money, and even if it isn't the right time yet, I feel more confident in myself, and I've learned so much from this experience. Part of why I'm making this video is because I'm trying to explore other avenues of income. There are so many opportunities for artists nowadays, and I can't stick to just doing markets if I want to live off of my art. The biggest hurdle for me at the moment feels like time management and figuring out which basket to put my eggs in, i.e. how to allocate my time wisely. Even making YouTube videos is honestly a huge time sink as well. I'm not even sure if I should keep pursuing it or take a break, but I really enjoy creating videos and connecting with people through them, so it's not something I want to stop doing anytime soon. As it gets busier towards the end of the year, I don't think I can keep uploading as regularly as I'd like, but I'll definitely try my best. Let me know if you have any ideas for videos. Good thing I have more. Yesterday I emailed Isekai Gacha again and asked them again what sizes the shelves were, as well as whether or not I needed to provide my own price tags. And I'm really glad I asked again because this time they actually responded. And they told me the size of the shelf and told me that I needed to provide my own tags, otherwise I could use their price gun for additional $5. So that's what you just saw me do. I just printed out some star shapes using some spare sticker paper and hand wrote all the prices down because I don't have a price gun. So unfortunately this acrylic stand is slightly too big to fit in the display. It's something along the lines of like a 30 by 30 cube. And unfortunately the width of this acrylic stand is like just over that. It's like 31 or something. So it's not going to fit and I'm a little bit sad about it. But like I said last time, it's okay because I can definitely just use this to upgrade my display at markets because it's really easy to put together compared to the wooden stand I have. I don't really want to buy any new displays for tomorrow. I'm actually just going to see what I already have and hopefully we can come up with something. It is a shame that this won't fit in the shelf, but I still might try bring it tomorrow anyway, just to see. But of course, we are still going to try and make another display. Do you have anything to say? So feisty. Okay, put you down. It's so small. I'm not even sure what else can fit. This is very unideal. Why is it taking me to this website? Oh my gosh, yes, finally. It is 5:16. You know what? I want to put on a hat. I have this cute hat that I bought, I think from Smash, like years and years ago. Honestly, I've never even worn it out because I just don't usually wear clothes in this style. I don't know how to wear berets. Does it look cute? I don't know. It's pretty much 5:30 at the moment and I'm just feeling a little bit tired and worn out. I think this whole week my mood has been fluctuating a lot, but we'll push through. So I just created a QR code to link to my socials, and I'm actually thinking about creating a online catalog for isekai gacha specifically and putting a QR code on the shelf, because in all the pictures I've seen, all of the shelves are kind of locked away behind doors, so I feel like that would discourage a lot of customers from actually like looking up my stuff. Personally, I know that if I'm in a shop and there are glass cabinets, I will not ask the staff to open the cabinet unless there is something that I know I want to buy. So I feel like it's going to deter some customers if they don't know what's inside the shelves or they can't see what's there. Okay, so here's my website. I haven't updated anything on the home page yet. If you go into the shop menu, there is a new item here which is in store, and this is where you can find the Isekai Gacha catalog. There's some notes here because the inventory at Isekai Gacha is not automatically tracked from what I understand, so I've just added all the items that I know that I've stocked. If you click these arrows, you can see more of them, or you can press view all and they all just show up here. Underneath this, there's also a little section here for Incubator Fitzroy, which just says that, you know, my stuff is there too. And if you click on this button, which says install catalog, you are taken to my Incubator profile, which is updated automatically. I also updated my FAQ, so I've added this question, which is, can I find you in a physical location? Another question at the bottom, which is about the materials and manufacturers I use, because sometimes people ask me. How long have you guys been here for, by the way?
8 months now.
It's 5:30 now. I got home about an hour ago. I just wanted to talk about the whole experience and everything because I feel like I have a lot of mixed feelings. Of course, I'm very excited to have my products in another shop, especially one that is local. I was able to pay the rental fee, which wasn't very expensive at all compared to Incubator. The shop is very hard to find. It is on the 4th level of a building, and you kind of have to turn into like a street and then take an elevator up to the 4th floor. It's not really one of those stores where you would just pass it if you were walking. I don't really know how much traffic the store gets. There were definitely a few customers when I was there that were walking in and out. It is building up a reputation, which is good. I have a feeling that they just added the second one in recently because it was mostly empty. There were only like 4 or 5 other shelves that were filled. So I think they did that because maybe they got a lot of applications for artists. So my shelf is at the top and I didn't account for that. The dude at the counter was pretty helpful. He was a little bit taller than I was, so he offered to help me set up my stuff, but I felt kind of bad, so after a while I was like, no, I can set up myself. My shelf is like, if I was standing, it's like here, I want to say. You know what? I'm not good at measuring height, but it's taller than I am. But I feel like I am a pretty average height, maybe like slightly below average. I'm slightly short, but it made it difficult to see my merch the way that I practice setting up. The guy even mentioned that I should probably have something with tiers, and now that I've been in the store and looked at the placement of my shelf, I definitely agree. It's also a lot tinier than I thought it would be. Like, I definitely measured it out, but I think seeing the actual cube space, I'm like, oh, this is actually quite a small compartment. I don't think I brought enough products either. The one good thing is though that my shelf, even though it's on the top, it's on a corner. You can see into my cube. I would really like to return there soon just to get more merch in there and to make my display better. At the moment, it just feels like I'm trying to do a lot of things and I just don't know how everything's going. Hey friends, you've made it to the last part of the vlog. I did film an outro, but I wanted to do a voiceover because a lot has happened since recording this. And since the video is longer than usual already, I'd rather just talk about it through voiceover while you watch me work. Between the start of this segment and the previous one, there's almost a 20-day gap. Momo Art Market was coming up, so I had to switch focus and lock in on market prep, leaving this project to collect dust for a little while. When I started recording this vlog, I only meant to document a week in my life that would focus on putting my products in shops. Unfortunately, things took a lot longer than expected, as usual. At this point, I was quite unhappy with my setup at Isekai Gacha, and I still hadn't sent a restock to Incubator, which is what you're watching me prepare at the moment. Daddy! Even though I started this video before the previous 2 vlogs I uploaded, I wanted to upload the Momo Art Market vlogs first since I thought it was important to release them not long after the event. I was supposed to release this video the week after, however our kitten Teddy suddenly passed away and I needed some time off to mourn. It was really hard to edit this studio vlog specifically because I knew it would be the last video he would appear in, and it was so heartbreaking to see footage of us together when I knew I couldn't ever hold him or play with him again. During all this time, my rental period at Isekai Gacha finished. I only managed to reorganize my shelf towards the very end of the rental period and literally only sold 1 item the whole month I was there. It was pretty disheartening, but it felt pointless to upload this video if my products weren't even there anymore. So I renewed my rent with them and asked if they could move me to another shelf. They transferred me to a lower shelf, which I'm really thankful for, and I went back in a 3rd time to set up again, which I'll show at the end. If I don't end up breaking even this month, I'll most likely end my time there. I also finished my 3rd month at Incubator Fitzroy and was still yet to break even. But since mid-May, they had added a mini feature space at their more popular location in Melbourne Central featuring Fitzroy artists. The amount of sales I received just from being included in this small space compared to the Fitzroy store was like night and day. I'm currently in the middle of my 4th month and I've finally broken even for the first time, all thanks to their feature space at Melbourne Central. Not only that, but a few days ago I was offered a position at their Melbourne Central store for the start of next month. Despite the higher fees, after having a little taste of what it's like to be stocked at that store, I'm feeling really optimistic that I'll be able to make some profit this time. I will be completely moving from the Fitzroy store to the Melbourne Central store. Finally, I just want to share some updates on the events I'll be attending for the rest of the year. I don't think I've announced it on YouTube yet, but I made it off the waitlist for Smash. Smash is the Sydney manga and anime show, our largest pop culture convention centered around Japanese media. This year will be 2.5 days instead of 2, from the 11th to the 13th of July. I was initially waitlisted for a long time, but a table became available and I knew I had to take it. Honestly, I have no idea if I'm going to be ready at all, but I just knew that I couldn't pass up this opportunity. I also got accepted into AzuriteCon, a one-day shoujo themed event happening at the start of August. This means that I'll be attending 3 markets that month, which is insane, and I already feel tired thinking about it. Lastly, I do want to mention that I will no longer be attending KaigaCon Sydney in October. If you're in the Australian convention artist community, you've most likely heard of all the drama that's unfolded over the past months. It's not something I want to talk about right now, but the recent handling of their Brisbane event has convinced me not to attend any future events run by the organisers. It's a shame because my first market was Kaiga Convention back in January and I actually had a really good time. But it also means that I won't have any events after August. So if anyone knows of any other Sydney art markets happening towards the end of the year that still have applications open, please let me know. That's about it for now. There's been lots of happy and sad updates, and we're going through a lot right now. There's a lot of uncertainty and emotions, but I look forward to sharing it all with you. Thank you for watching this video. It's a long one and it was a really hard one, but I hope you still enjoyed it anyway. I appreciate you so much. See you in the next one. Love you. He doesn't want me to do it anymore. Again.
Oh, I love this song. Hey, Vincent.